Welcome along to this week's Gout Gourmet.
Great to be here.
Okay, so today we're diving into something that's, well, really personal for a lot of people, isn't it? Managing life with gout. And we really want to look beyond just the medication side of things. We're focusing on those practical, everyday strategies, the kind of things that can, genuinely make a difference when you're dealing with the pain. And let's be honest, the real impact on mobility that flares can bring. We want to be really empathetic to that.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, our sort of mission, if you like, is to pull out the key actionable insights we found. We're looking specifically at diet, at hydration, and also those non-drug approaches for finding a bit of relief during a flare-up.
Right. And what feels powerful here is that while medical treatment is, of course, absolutely vital, the information really highlights how much lifestyle choices matter.
Yeah.
Both, trying to prevent flares in the first place and also for easing things when they do happen. It shows there's a real toolkit you can build beyond prescriptions, practical ways to support yourself.
Spot on. And let's start building that toolkit with, well, probably the most fundamental bit, food. Now, there's this idea sometimes that a gout-friendly diet has to be, I don't know, bland or boring.
Restrictive.
Exactly. But the info we looked at really pushes back on that. It gives a fantastic example, actually, of how it can be delicious and helpful. The gut-friendly Buddha bowl.
Oh, yes, I saw that. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? It's got a base of cooked quinoa. Then you add sauerkraut, which was highlighted as being great for gut health. Roasted sweet potatoes and zucchini, some fresh spinach, and this really vibrant tahini dressing that's got turmeric in it, which is interesting. Then you can add lean protein if you want, like grilled chicken or turkey.
And it's not just thrown together randomly. What's great is understanding why these specific ingredients work for gout. It's about combining those low-purine plant foods with lean protein.
Right.
That mix helps keep uric acid levels steadier, avoids the big spikes you get from, say, red meat. And the sauerkraut and turmeric, they're flagged as being anti-inflammatory. So they help calm things down directly, but also support gut health, which seems increasingly linked to overall inflammation. It's like a double benefit for gout.
Yeah, that gut health connection really stood out. And there was a great little pro tip mentioned alongside the bowl recipe, too, pairing it with green tea. Calls it a double uric acid punch.
Which actually leads us nicely into the science bit, doesn't it? Because it's not just good ideas. There's actual research backing up these dietary approaches.
Exactly. One finding that really jumped out was this strong link between following a Mediterranean-style diet and, well, lower uric acid levels and fewer gout flares. And the reason seems to be because that way of eating is naturally packed with plant-based foods, whole grains, healthy fats, all things that help curb inflammation and avoid that purine overload that can trigger an attack. It's framed quite nicely as less of a strict diet and more a lifestyle, channel your inner Mediterranean chef.
I like that. And that green tea tip, it's not just a suggestion. There's specific research mentioned on that, too. A study showed that even, moderate consumption, about a cup twice a day, significantly lowered uric acid.
Really? Just 2 cups?
Apparently so. The thinking connects it to the antioxidants in green tea, which are thought to help reduce inflammation, yes, but also potentially support kidney function, helping your body clear that uric acid more effectively. It's a pretty simple daily habit that could have a real impact.
So the overarching principle that comes through really isn't just about cutting out the usual suspects, the red meat, shellfish, sugary drinks we all know about. It's just as much, maybe even more, about actively building your diet around those low purine anti-inflammatory foods. Thinking of fruits, vegetables, low-fat dairy, whole grains as your kind of everyday allies.
Yeah, shifting the focus. Okay, so moving on slightly. Another thing that came up really strongly, especially in some of the community discussions we saw insights from, was hydration. Simple, basic, but absolutely fundamental. One person even called it everything for managing their gout.
And you can see why when you understand how water helps. Staying properly hydrated essentially gives your kidneys the best chance to do their job properly.
Yeah, right.
Flushing out that excess uric acid from your system more efficiently.
And it's not just about flushing it out faster. Drinking plenty of water actually helps dilute the uric acid that's already in your blood.
Okay.
Which is crucial because, you see, when it's too concentrated, that's when it's much more likely to form those sharp crystals in your joints and cause all that pain. So keeping it diluted makes crystals less likely to form in the first place.
And there were some really practical, actionable hydration tips mentioned too. The general baseline is aiming for at least 8 glasses a day, maybe more if you're active or it's hot. But it also suggested a specific routine, which I liked. Drink a good amount, say 500 milliliters first thing in the morning, get ahead, and then maybe have a glass every time you pop to the loo during the day.
Yeah.
Simple habits you could actually start tomorrow.
Yeah, those cues can really help build the habit. And for a little extra something, there was another useful pro tip on hydration, adding a squeeze of lemon juice to your water.
Oh yeah? Why that?
Apparently, the citrate you get from lemons can actively help stop those uric acid crystals from forming. It's only a small thing, adding lemon, but potentially another layer of protection.
Interesting. Okay, so we've talked diet, we've talked hydration, powerful tools for prevention. But the reality is, flares can still happen.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And the pain, well, anyone who's experienced it knows it can be absolutely dreadful, really impacting your ability to just move.
Totally debilitating.
So the treatment toolbox section offered some non-drug strategies, really practical things to help manage that intense pain during an attack. And it was clear these are supportive measures, not replacements for medical advice, especially if it's severe.
Absolutely. These are things you can try yourself right there and then to get some relief. Several key things were listed. Applying ice to the sore joint. 15-20 minutes at a time was the suggestion. Helps numb the pain, reduce swelling.
And elevating and resting the limb. That
Oh.
sounds crucial. Getting it propped up on pillows, avoiding weight bearing, no walking or standing for long periods if you can possibly help it.
Yeah, and it acknowledged that can be really difficult, especially with mobility issues already, but stressed how important it is for letting things calm down.
And hydration came up again here too.
It did. Just drinking water can apparently help ease discomfort even during an attack. Supports the body's processes.
Right. And it also mentioned some comfort foods, things like tart cherry juice or smoothies, maybe soothing and anti-inflammatory.
Yes. Noted that some people find those helpful during a flare. And then finally, once the absolute worst of the pain starts to ease off a bit, gentle movement, light stretching, that sort of thing, just to start getting that mobility back. But with a big caution, don't push through sharp pain. Really listen to your body.
These steps feel really important. They acknowledge the reality of the pain and offer tangible things you can do, ways to cope with that intensity and support yourself on that difficult road back to moving more comfortably after a flare.
Yeah.
It's building that emergency part of the toolkit.
Exactly. Thinking about how we manage gout now, I saw this little historical snippet that was quite fascinating. Did you know where the word gout actually comes from?
Oh, go on.
It's from the Latin word gutta.
Gutta, meaning a drop.
Precisely. It harks back to this ancient idea that gout was caused by, drops of some sort of bad fluid or humor falling into the joints.
Wow. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How far our understanding has come from falling drops to understanding metabolic pathways, uric acid crystals, inflammation, specific dietary links.
Yeah, from ancient mystery to a practical toolkit we can actually use. So if we bring it all together then, from this deep dive, the key takeaways for managing gout feel really practical and hopefully empowering. We saw how diet is a huge foundation, not about misery, but about building meals with low purine foods, embracing Mediterranean ideas, maybe adding things like green tea or those gut-friendly foods.
And hydration just emerged. It's so critical, didn't it? A simple but really powerful weapon, essential for helping the kidneys clear uric acid and stop those crystals forming.
And then having those vital non-drug strategies ready for when a flare does hit, things you can do yourself to manage the pain and help get your mobility back afterwards.
Absolutely. And these points aren't just theory. They are practical tools that you, listening now, can actually explore and maybe integrate into your own life. They offer concrete ways to feel a bit more in control, take an active role in managing your gout, and hopefully improve your day-to-day comfort and quality of life.
Which leads us, I suppose, to a final thought for you to mull over. Based on everything we've discussed, the food swaps, the hydration habits, the flare relief tactics, what's maybe one single thing from this gout management toolkit that feels achievable for you? Something you could realistically focus on trying this week to make even a small, tangible difference?
And maybe, shifting your perspective away from feeling constrained by a restricted diet or focusing on limitations. What if you reframed it? Saw instead as actively building a personal, nourishing toolkit designed specifically to support your body and your well-being. Could that perhaps fundamentally change your experience of living with gout?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Well, that's all we have time for on this week's Gout Gourmet. We really hope you found some useful insights there. Please do subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss our next episode.
We'll be back next week with more.
Until then, remember, managing gout is a journey, But you're not alone, and there are always steps you can take. Take care.